You know, if you had money laying around and you spent thousands of dollars to go on this thing that never happened, that's cool with me. But if you can't afford it, then don't go. Welcome back, guys. I finally watched the Fyre Festival Fraud documentary on Netflix and on Hulu. I didn't plan on watching it on both. I just happened to run across it on YouTube. Yeah, somebody on YouTube actually posted the Hulu documentary version, so it was on there. So if you want to know the differences between Hulu and Netflix, there isn't a whole lot. The one thing that Hulu did that Netflix didn't do was they actually had Billy being interviewed on their platform. And the worst part is that they actually paid Billy to do a shitty ass interview, because half the time he's just sitting there with his stupid face trying to make up lies on the spot. And it's even funnier because there was a time during this interview where he's like, I need a 10-minute break. Interviewer's like, why do you need a break? He's like, it's a personable break. And I was like, what? But then Netflix kind of concentrates more on some of the Fyre team themselves and how they kind of reacted and, you know, what was going on through the team. Because Billy bought Pablo Escobar's island, like he heavily advertised, because obviously that's going to get people talking. And none of his team knew back then what was actually going on that island. All they knew was they were seeing these promotional videos from Fuck Jerry. Yeah, Fuck Jerry is a thing. That's hilarious. And they had no clue that this thing was like just a huge mess. So honestly, if you guys are gonna watch this, I would just say watch both, because they have different perspectives. I would say that Hulu has a little bit more of the Bahamian workers in some of their interviews, so that's kind of good. But at the same time, it's like Hulu or Netflix, I don't think donated a lot of money to any of them. They might have gotten paid for their interviews, but at the same time, you know, some of them were shit out of luck, like that catering lady. But I think I read somewhere that people have raised enough money for her GoFundMe, so that's kind of nice and that's pretty cool. So if there's any other GoFundMe links, let me know and post them in the comments, that way people can see them. That's what I want to get at this video. It's more like not a review that I would do, because I do like reviewing documentaries, but it's like I feel bad for the workers that were there, because they knew it was going to be a disaster, but at the same time they worked day and night 24 hours getting these villas and like these shitty ass tents from like hurricane reliefs set up for these crazy rich kids. But then it's been targeted from a different angle, because Ja Rule himself defended himself, calling out the documentary, saying that, hey, I had nothing to do, I was bamboozled, I basically knew nothing. And that raises a huge question, because you throughout this movie say that you guys are like best friends, like he is a really close friend, you know, that you trust him, blah blah blah. But at the same time, like if you trust someone, you have to know how they're doing their bidding, you know, you have to know how you're getting this money, you know, where they're getting it from. Because Billy was definitely a compulsive liar, and you can definitely see that during the Hulu interview, which was just insane. Like, I was just like, dude, this guy is just trying to lie every time he's being asked a question. Like, even when he doesn't come up with a lie, he's just like, I just can't answer that. I can't answer anything about my criminal ties, because guess what? He can't come up with any good answers to give us. And the funny thing is, like, when I first started watching the documentary, is that Billy looks like a likable guy. Like, he does look like somebody that will be cool to hang out with. But at the end of the day, he's basically that kid that's always happy. He always wants to make everybody feel good, and he wants to be the best person in the room no matter what it takes. And that's basically what happened here. He bought an island and then was like, you know what, in 4 months let's have like this huge festival with all these celebrities. We'll fly them down, we'll fly down all these people, we'll include these crazy packages, so let's see what happens, let's make some money. But little did he know was that there was like no infrastructure where they had picked the location. They actually had picked different location, and that's where I want to get at, because the advertisement for Fyre Festival was on point. I'm not gonna lie, personally I didn't read anything from Fyre Festival, and this happened like 2 years ago. I had no clue this was a thing. Like, I honestly never read about it, so it was interesting to see that. Like, how did I miss this? Maybe I don't make enough money that Instagram didn't like show me this on my feed, because I do have an Instagram, but I never saw it. And when I saw the promotional video, it looked really good. You have some hot models, you have a lot of people drinking, you have them having fun, jamming out on boats and stuff like that. So yeah, hell yeah, who isn't gonna like going to a place like that, especially where you're surrounded by like people that are just trying to party. They asked a lot of models, and you can see it throughout the Netflix and Hulu documentary, that they were pushing them to say hashtag Fyre Festival, or like hashtag anything related to this festival, because that's what they wanted. They wanted to get people talking. They had like these super hot models posting pictures and videos, and like that's what people would see on their feed. The documentary gets more interesting because we're getting closer and closer to the day of the supposed festival, because there were whistleblowers within the team. There were like people like wondering, like, you know, is this really gonna happen? And people that were already on the island with Billy started sending out pictures of, you know, what it actually looked like, the laborers, like the tents that they were using. It's just insane. Like one Twitter account, I think it was called Fyre Fraud, did a fantastic job in documenting this, and obviously the guy that created it is in both documentaries, so they do a fantastic job in just asking him all these questions. And at one point he's even like baffled at the fact that Billy kept trying to lie after the matter. And the crazier thing about this is that Billy managed to get a lot of investors to like spend a lot of money on him. In some way, this documentary reminded me of The Wolf of Wall Street, which is based on a true story. But this right here, since it's a documentary, it's like even harder to believe that this actually went down and that a person like this did all that stuff, like wire fraud. He lied about investors about the profitability of their Fyre app, and then he also lied that he had stock invested in Facebook, which he was saying he was like over millions, but in reality, again, it was like in the thousands. I felt like Ja Rule maybe knew but didn't want to like stop it from happening. And at the same time, there had to have been more people involved, because I just don't believe that one person was able to lie and handle all this income. Now let me talk about these villas and tents, because they look pretty good. They look good in the videos, the design and all that stuff, but then the reality hits really hard, because it's basically a small ass tent with 2 mattresses, and then the worst is it starts raining the day before the festival starts, and it's just chaos. People basically are fighting for a spot to sleep in, and that's like the worst thing. You have like all these rich ass kids. I might get shit for that, because I feel like not all those kids were rich. Obviously, like some of them had loaded like hundreds of thousands of dollars on their wristbands, like if it was Disney World. Like that's just insane. Some of them said that they had used all their savings and sold like their car, their like apartment, you know, like all these crazy things. And it's like, you guys went through all that trouble just to go to a freaking festival on an island for 2 weekends. And that's why I say, you know, like if you don't have the money, don't do it. Now, I don't blame the influencers, and I don't blame some of the people that went on there, because I feel like I would have gone. I love festivals like Ultra, Bonnaroo, Coachella, stuff like that. That to me looks fun. But then again, it's like, if it's the first time, I probably would want to wait and then see if it's actually going to happen. Especially if you have to fly out to a damn island that, you know, has no infrastructure or anything like that. And I know you're saying like, how were they supposed to know? But then again, there were people posting stuff online in this 2017, 2018. We should have known. So this wasn't really a review. I would just say that I just wanted to talk about it because it was just bugging me, and I just wanted to get it out there and see what you guys thought about this whole thing. You know, is Ja Rule at fault? Does Billy need more time in jail because he obviously went to jail? And you know, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. So yeah, if you guys are new to my channel, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe on my channel. Let me know what you thought about it. Also hit me up on Instagram. All the links will be in the description. And as always guys, stay tuned.